Hello guys, and welcome back to another prediction. First of all, thank you for all the nice words that I received for being back with new material here on YouTube. As promised, I'll try to deliver you new material very fast, and today we will talk about the possible box office performance of Solo: A Star Wars Story. Before we start, I want to talk about something else. A few people asked me about my opinion on some box office topics in detail, and I had some good conversations with you guys over the Game of Box Office Facebook page. For all people who want to talk with me in detail about a box office topic, or who just want to ask me some questions considering box office themes, just like Game of Box Office and write me some messages there. I will answer you as soon as possible. Alright, let's get into the prediction. As always, I will open this video with a point which works in favor for a good box office performance of Solo: A Star Wars Story. Unfortunately, as the only pro point, I want to name the Star Wars brand and its current box office situation. While the brand was kind of damaged a bit by The Last Jedi, the Star Wars franchise is still very strong and behind the Marvel Empire at the moment the most successful brand in the film world. The Force Awakens with $2.068 billion worldwide, Rogue One with $1.056 billion worldwide, and The Last Jedi with around $1.333 billion worldwide in just 3 years is really an unbelievable strong statement when it comes to box office might, especially when you look at the huge domestic performances which land all between 532 and 936 million. I know a lot of people, and I'm one of them, hope that The Last Jedi will perform better, something more in the 700 to 750 million range in the domestic market and something like 800 to 850 million from overseas territories for a worldwide total of 1.5 to 1.6 billion. But unfortunately, fans were not so pleased with the outcome of how The Last Jedi was crafted by Rian Johnson, and therefore the box office performance suffered. Like I said, the brand is still going strong, and to have the name Star Wars on the poster definitely helps Solo. But we have to also keep in mind that the movie would be in a totally different situation if it would have been released before The Last Jedi and not after it. With that point in mind, we have to continue with the aspects which does not work in favor for a good box office performance of the movie. First of all, I want to name the goodwill, which is now pretty much destroyed after The Last Jedi. When The Force Awakens was released in 2015, it was an absolutely crazy box office thrill ride because universal acclaim from critics was met by universal acclaim from audiences and with probably the biggest amount of nostalgia that ever happened in the history of cinema. This goodwill carried over to Rogue One, which was not so much acclaimed from critics like The Force Awakens was, but which was loved by some fans even more than Episode 7. The goodwill from Episode 7 definitely helped the movie's performance a lot, and Rogue One would have not performed like it performed without the universal love that The Force Awakens received. The movie managed to gross pretty much similar to The Dark Knight, and these numbers are extremely important for Solo: A Star Wars Story, since it's our only information so far how a Star Wars anthology movie performs at the box office. The hype and the goodwill from Episode 7 and Rogue One carried over to the release of The Last Jedi this winter, and you can see this pretty clear by the insanely huge opening weekend of The Last Jedi, which is the second largest of all time and by a far margin exceed the opening weekend of Rogue One. Nonetheless, like I said before, audiences were really not that much happy with the outcome, which you can see by the 48% rotten audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. 2 years after The Force Awakens, with an installment where audiences were not happy, two very important factors were not there anymore. Nostalgia was gone now, with the third Star Wars movie in a time span of just 2 years, and people did not went out to the cinema to see The Last Jedi for 2, 3 or 4 times like they did on The Force Awakens. Therefore, The Last Jedi fell off very fast from its opening weekend, achieving a poor multiplier of only 2.8. All in all, we still have to keep in mind that Episode 8 managed to gross an unbelievable $620 million in the domestic market without nostalgia, with audiences not liking the movie and without people going to the cinema for multiple showings. Just think about that. The Marvel franchise achieved to crack 600 million in the domestic market just when everything is perfect. like it was with The Avengers in 2012 and with Black Panther this year. When audiences don't like the movie, like it was the case with Age of Ultron, the numbers are dropping well below 500 million in the domestic market. What does that tell us? The Star Wars franchise is still way more strong in the domestic market than the Marvel franchise. But with Black Panther smashing all records and Infinity War as the next movie out of the universe, I don't know how long Star Wars can still sit in this number one spot in the domestic market when it comes to the franchises. The next thing that I want to name is the competition that Solo has to face. Just a few weeks ago, things looked even worse for Solo, when Infinity War was still scheduled to be released on May 4th. Disney will now release Infinity War actually a little bit earlier, on the last April weekend, which will give Solo some more room to earn money at the box office. Nonetheless, to have the almighty Infinity War a few weeks before release, and Deadpool 2 1 week before the release, and The Incredibles 2 3 weeks after the release, is not an overall good situation for Solo. When the rumors are true and audience reactions for Deadpool 2 are really that bad, then I think that Solo could survive this clash of the big movies. The next point that I want to name is the marketing campaign. Marketing was really low so far, and the hype level is at an all-time low for the Star Wars franchise. With around 7 weeks to go before Solo hits cinema screens, Disney really has to turn on the marketing machine for the movie. The next thing that I want to name are the reactions towards the material already released and the general talk that is going on in the Star Wars and Star Wars Leaks subreddit that the quality is really not good for Solo. The trailer, which was released a few weeks ago, was not met with excitement, and the like to dislike ratio is showing this pretty good. Also, people do really see no need for this movie. The general interest is just not there for a Han Solo standalone film, and while I personally think that this movie can be brilliant, I have also a good amount of skepticism in me. One of the worst things that could happen to the movie is of course the situation where the quality is just not good and fans of the franchise as well as critics give the film a rotten score. To be honest, a rotten score is very unlikely for Solo, even with all the talking that is going on because of the reshoots that they did, the very late release of the first trailer and the hiring of a new director. All of those things will affect Solo a Star Wars story for sure. Of course they will. But Disney will still manage to give the film a solid score, I'm pretty sure of that. Alright guys, I will now fade in all aspects that I just counted for a good or bad box office performance of the movie, and before I start with the pessimistic prediction, I want to remind you again that when you want to talk with me about Solo or another box office topic more in detail, just like Game of Box Office on Facebook and you can contact me there. I will answer as fast as possible. Now, let's start with the pessimistic prediction. Awesomely, we have a very good example of this situation. When Dead Man's Chest, the second Pirates of the Caribbean movie, was released back in 2006, it performed unbelievable, with an opening weekend record and a domestic total north of $400 million. Fans didn't like the movie, and therefore the third Pirates of the Caribbean movie dropped pretty bad in comparison to Dead Man's Chest. In the pessimistic prediction, we will use the same drop percentages on Solo: A Star Wars Story from Rogue One. Rogue One opened to $155 million in December of 2016. When we now take the 15.5% drop from Pirates 2 to Pirates 3 when it comes to the opening weekend and give it a little bump upwards to 20%, this will put Solo: A Star Wars Story at a 3-day opening of $124 million and a 4-day opening weekend of around $139 million. Because of the bad quality and the hard competition when Deadpool 2 is actually good and not bad, Solo: A Star Wars Story will drop hard and fast with a multiplier of 2.7, which will put Solo at a domestic total of $334.8 million. From overseas territories, Solo will perform a little bit better in comparison to the domestic market, with a $420 million total, which will add up for a worldwide gross of $754.8 million. This number will make Disney very, very unhappy, and the future of the Star Wars brand will be uncertain when this becomes reality. Let's now talk about what could happen when everything works a little bit better with Solo. In this scenario, everything looks already a little bit brighter for the movie project. In this scenario, we can bump the drop a little bit downwards, from 20% to just 10%, which will give Solo a 3-day opening weekend of $139.573 million and a 4-day opening weekend of $159.320 million. The movie will perform better over the long run because of better quality and a not so good Deadpool 2, and therefore will perform good with a 2.85 multiplier, which will put Solo at a domestic total of $397.78350 million. From overseas territories, Solo will collect a little bit more, something like $450 million, for a combined worldwide cum of $847.78350 million. While still not great, this result will make Disney way more happy, and the starting situation for the next few Star Wars movies would be way better. What can happen in the optimistic prediction? When Solo, a Star Wars story, is beating all expectations when it comes to the quality and manages to be received and seen as an even better Rogue One, then I think that Solo will come close to $1 billion but not surpassing it. In this scenario, Solo will open a bit better but still under Rogue One, with a 3-day opening weekend of $142.581 million and a 4-day opening of $163.420 million. After a 3.15 multiplier, Solo will end its run at the domestic box office with a total of $449.13.15 million, outgrossing The Dark Knight Rises and securing a top 5 domestic spot of the year 2018. From overseas territories, Solo will earn a total of $500 million for a combined worldwide cum of $949.030.150 million. This outcome will make Disney very happy, and a lot of goodwill will carry over from this Star Wars to Episode 9. The next video will be a prediction about Ant-Man and the Wasp. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. It really means a lot to me. When you like this video, it would be great when you consider liking and or sharing this prediction, since it would really help out this channel big time. Also be sure to subscribe to this channel when you always want to see my new predictions first. See you soon, guys. More videos to come. Bye bye.